Hello, everyone, and welcome to Full Time to Travel Time. Today, we have an awesome guest on our show, which we're really excited about. He's actually one of the featured speakers at TravelCon, so we just got to meet him fairly recently. He is one of the OGs of travel vlogging. So
let me tell you all the amazing things about Mr. Mark Wolters. Wow, wow, wow. I feel like I needed that. Today's guest is someone you probably watched while planning your next big adventure. Mark Wolters is the creator of the hugely popular YouTube channel, Wolters World. His last name, not Walter, Walter. Where he shares honest, no fluff travel advice with over 1 million subscribers. He's actually known for his signature do's and don'ts videos, and he really helps travelers just navigate the world with more confidence, right to the point, from cultural tips to what to avoid in each country. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. That's why I stumble. Because he's actually an award-winning business professor at the University of Illinois as well. He brings an extra layer of insight to the way he explores destinations and connects with communities around the globe. So whether it's packing smart or making the most of your time abroad or just navigating international travel with kids, which is a whole nother world Isaac and I are unaware of, right? Mark's been there, and he's here to share his honest and authentic wisdom with us, to all of us. So thank you, Mark, for being here today.
Thank you. That is like the nicest intro I've ever had my entire life. I'm like blushing.
Well deserved, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've done a lot in your life, and we hope to pull out a lot of extra golden nuggets from you today. And honestly, it's fun to like interview someone like you as well, because I know we will learn a lot from you and with you, and our listeners are going to have an awesome time hearing about your life too.
Well, let's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we could tell.
Yes.
I told Kim when we were driving here today, I was like, we've been watching his videos, and obviously we got to meet him in person. He just seems like a really fun dude.
I know. Well, I told him even when we were at TravelCon, like you were talking to Matt and Nat, I think at like the top of a staircase somewhere, and I was like, oh, this guy seems cool. Let me talk to him, because I've never watched Wolters World previous to TravelCon. Is how I found out about who you are. I like never use YouTube. Like
She really doesn't use
full
YouTube at all.
disclosure.
It's okay.
I was just talking to you, and I was like, man, this guy's super cool. I like him. And then the next day, it's like, featured speaker. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, extra bonus on top. Nice.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah, us
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, and I remember that was it, because I was having the conversation, and I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I remember that, too.
We
I
just
was
kept
like,
talking? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I was like on my way. I'm like, So I'm glad it was still nice.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Cool. So question number 1, while we warm each other up, how has running this YouTube channel, Wolters World, provided the extra income and motivation to be able to travel to the extent you have? You've traveled a lot.
So what's been cool about, like, I have a day job. Like, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't understand. It's like social media, the money in social media, like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg have the money. The creators, they're not all making money. I mean, like, but at least it makes enough to cover the stuff. So like what it was for many years, which like basically we were breaking even. It's like, hey, like we can go on trips, we can do a trip, then it started getting better, then we go on more trips. So it's kind of like that. And now it's really made it so it's, like I have a nicer house because I have this, but also I have a day job. And so it's a nice like supplement to things. And so I'm not, like, that's been a very nice thing in terms of the financial side of it. That's how it's going there. Like, and then like how it's changed, like how I travel. Like I always loved traveling, even when I was a kid. Well, when I was a kid, our vacations were from Illinois to Toledo, Ohio to see Grandpa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was funny. My dad worked in Mexico and Korea, and my mom traveled all the time for work, but like we never went anywhere. And so it's funny because like my parents never went to Europe, and then I did my master's there, and they started traveling to visit me, and then they started traveling all the time. So I was like, "Oh, your parents travel all the time." I'm like, yeah, but they never did when we were kids. And so
Because of me. Also,
Yeah,
relatable,
exactly.
I'm
I
from
was like-
Indiana. So our travels was from the northern part of Indiana to the southern part, Lafayette. So we'd see family. Like,
yeah,
to your
exactly.
point.
Like sometimes you got to go to Santa Claus, Indiana, and go to
Ooh.
Holiday World. It was fancy, or we went to the caves in southern Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like we didn't even do fun stuff like that. Like it was like
Family trip.
we had our weekly. Our parents dropped us off at Grandma's house.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
sorry, every summer that 1 week there. But it's been a really nice thing, because when I first started this, I never thought it would make, like, I didn't even know you could make money. So I mean, we did it. I started this in 2009. I think we got monetized in 2012.
Mhm.
So I was doing stuff for 3 years, and they were like, I'm like, well, you can monetize this? That's cool.
Yeah.
And so And it was funny because I remember like the first checks were like $50 a month, and I'm like, we can go because we had nothing. We had no like I was a
Yeah.
PhD student, like and we had a kid, like we had no
Yeah.
money, like we had nothing. And we moved back to the US, and I'm like $50. We could go on a date, like we could go out to dinner. And like it was like this huge thing. And then after I was like $150, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's another trip to the grocery store, you know. And of
Yeah.
course now that's like
Multiple
nothing,
kids
but
later.
yeah, now it's different. But it was like little by little, it went from like little things like now it's our mortgage, now it's our car payment and mortgage, now it's the kids going to school. So that's been a really nice thing, like the financial side of things. That's been helpful, but it's not the money thing because like that's one thing I do like is I can do what I want to do. So like I'll go places. Like we were in Panama, and I know videos in Panama are never going to get they're never going to get millions of views. They're not going to make any money for us, which is fine because I'm like this way. I have a day job that pays relatively well. Yeah, I'm not like a bajillionaire, but we're not starving. But it's like I can now focus on going to places where I think people need to know more about. So I do tons of videos in Latin America and Central and South America. I used to live in Brazil and Argentina, and like it gave me the opportunity to go where I want to go to showcase places that I think other people would like to go or should go, but people don't think about going because they just think, oh, South America, dangerous. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Only Europe,
Whereas
and
you're
so
actually driven by providing people with actually valuable content. It's not money driven, which is definitely
exactly.
definitely
Yeah, and
valuable.
there are some, and I can't. I mean, the thing is, I can't fault those people because that's how they make their living. Like I have a job, and then I make the money on YouTube, and so, but I don't have to, and so therefore I can make videos that only get a few thousand views because I'm like I know there's going to be some people that are going to go to Panama City, or there's going to be people that are going to go to Savannah, Georgia, like smaller places. I'm like. I can go there, make those videos, and do that. I can go like I always love going to Brazil, even though not a lot of tourists go there. But I'm like, but the ones that do go there, they need this.
Yeah.
And so it's like I feel I can help out, and so it gives me that kind of opportunity to pick random destinations. Like we're going to go to the Balkans this summer for like 5 weeks, and I know my videos on North Macedonia probably aren't going to be getting me
Like,
any
I don't
more
even
play
know where that
buttons. You know what I
is.
mean? So it's like, but I know that that's where people need information for, and the people from there have asked me to come. Like, hey, we'd love for you. Like, not like the tours are made, but like actual people from there. We'd love if you come and do one of your videos about Serbia. Do you do one about Bulgaria? I'm like, sure. And so it's nice because I can give that back, and I do the same research, even if it's a place I know won't do many views. I'm going to do the same research if I'm going to do like a Paris video, which would do very, very well, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, I want to give everybody that same opportunity because I know for some people, maybe they only do one trip ever to like Europe, and it's, they're going to see their family in the Balkans, and they don't know what to see or do. I can help them out. And yeah, maybe it's only 1,000 people, not a million going to Paris, but you know what? Those 1,000, it made a difference for them. And for me, that's all that matters. And so that's what kind of drives me doing that, and that honesty and helping people stuff. It's helped us grow in a way that's different because like I started at TravelCon, I'm a travel educator. I'm not a travel influencer. I'm not a travel inspirer. I'm like, oh, you know where you want to go. Well, let's get you ready to go so you get the best out of it. So
yeah, I don't know if I agree with that one. You inspire quite a bit too. It's like, oh, now I know because you don't just teach what to do, you also teach what not to do. So Isaac, I think this leads into the next question just brilliantly. You want to hit it?
Okay. Yeah. So your do's and don'ts series, and especially like what not to do or what don't do, has really become a staple of kind of your series and your recordings, and really travelers seeking honest advice. And can you share like what is the story behind how this series got started, and how did you find that this was like content that people really wanted to see?
So I have to go back far before the don'ts videos, because what I started with, and this is the one where I really realized that no one wanted a top 10 list and no one wanted to learn language videos. I made a 5 things you love and hate about Portugal and a 5 things you love and hate about going to Germany. And those, like, we're talking like multiple, like they're not like, today people go viral, like millions of views. Like back then going viral was getting like tens of thousands of views versus the 1,000 views you had. And I'm like, whoa, this one really hit. And I like looked at it, read the comments, and I'm like, wait, it's the honest input. Like people don't just want to know the good stuff. They want to know the bad stuff. So they're prepared for it. And so I started with these 5 love and hates. And then that was kind of like our big thing for a while. And then I was in China. And I was like, China's a lot of that culture shocks. That gets people like, oh, I'll do a culture shock. And then, 10 things that'll shock you. And that was like the next one. And then I was kind of going through and I'm like, I need to have more of a serious tone because the 511 hates limits just by the number of 5 and 5, right? So that you're limited there. And then the shocks are more fun culture things. But I'm like, no, I got to put something together that's really like, hey, don't do this, like, but in the honest way. And so it's more of a do's and don'ts, but they're always titled don'ts up because no one likes positivity. They like the negative clickbait, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
Hate that.
but it's always don'ts, but some of these don't forget. And so I started making these don'ts videos, and then they just went even more. And I'm like, okay. And what was nice is the don'ts video. Now when I go anywhere, I'm always making sure I'm making a don'ts video because I feel that's the most important one. So it's like, if you ever want to watch any of my videos, you're going to a destination. And like, I only have time to watch one video. I make it. You watch that don'ts that I have of that one. You've got the most important stuff out there.
Yeah.
And so now I've kind of like prioritized. Like the don'ts are like this is the serious stuff, but like fun, but also serious things you want to like. You know what you don't want to miss. The main sites. You know the safety things, the culture stuff, so you don't get in trouble, kind of stuff. That's the don'ts. Then underneath that, we have fun with the culture shocks. That's more of a jokey one. Then there's the 511 hates, which is more of like me talking to other fellow travelers. Like, let's be honest, like there are things we love and hate about that. And then we have a relatively newer series like mistakes. And the mistakes are like the little differences out there that you don't know. So maybe you don't need it as much like your first trip, but you're like, oh, I wish I would have known more. It's like the don'ts, then the mistakes. That's going to cover you the big stuff and the little stuff. Because if I put it all in one video, it'd be like an hour long. You know, and so like people don't like that. So it's like,
break it down.
Yeah.
Because I started noticing like our don'ts videos were getting like 20, 25 minutes long. And I'm like, even though people will watch it, it's like, I know that it's like, look, I got to get it down to like the 12 to 15 minute view thing there's that there. So
and attention spans
like,
have gotten smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of times like the don'ts are relatable for people who've traveled. And like I was watching one, it was about London, but you had talked about like, you know, where do you stand on the escalator? I ran into this problem in Australia when I lived there for a year where I didn't really have a problem driving, but for some reason I would always still walk on the right side, and then I would walk up the right side of stairwells, and I'd cause big traffic jams because everyone else was doing the opposite.
Yeah,
of
like,
what I was
what are
doing.
you doing? You
Right, like so the driving wasn't hard, but the walking was hard, and especially stairwells. And then like I'd cause people wouldn't be like move to the other side; they would do it themselves. So I'm trying to like get to the other side to stop the traffic jam, but I can't because the flow's going. So,
you messed everything up.
So it just made me kind of chuckle.
You
when
ruined
you're
everything,
talking
Isaac.
about
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so don't walk up the right side of the stairs in Australia.
Don't. But yeah, so like I know in regards to social media and YouTube, you know, the hook is really important. And you talked about that even at TravelCon too. So can you talk to us and our listeners, like how do you do the research and kind of break down and identify what is a great hook or can be for any video that you create? And better yet, how do you test to find out which hook is working the best?
So the hook thing is very important. However, I've kind of sabotaged myself a bit with the hooks because everyone expects every video to start with, hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World. They'll never hears Mark. They just hear Wolters World. But it's always, hey there, fellow travelers. And so like at TravelCon, I did that. I made my whole speech for TravelCon, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have it starting with, hey there, fellow travelers. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I have to say that first. Like that's required to say that. And so like I make sure I said that first. And so like right now, like I'm working with my editors for a new season of stuff. So I've got all these videos already in the can, ready to come out, but I have new things. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to be taking like one of the like funnier don'ts or one of the more shocking, whatever, like one that will hook people in. So I can cut that little bit out and say, hey, don't do this when you hear it because boom, and then go, hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World. And the thing is, you have to have something to get people to stay. Because before, people like you have your normal subscribers that watch your videos, they'll watch. But like people that are just passing through, how do we hook them in? Right? And so you got to have something that's going to get them interested. And one thing I always tell people is, what value are you bringing? You're like, I bring like my value I bring in the videos is like, hey, I'm going to educate you so you don't get in trouble. I'm going to educate you so you get the best time possible, you know? And so therefore I make sure that I'm giving them that value in the beginning, like, hey, here's what you need to know. So I always make sure the first few don'ts are like really important ones, but it can't be too general. Like you can't be like, oh, don't forget to watch out for pickpockets in Paris. People know that. You got to talk about it eventually, but you got to give them some general, but then give some like very specific, like, oh, this person did do some more research than other people did. And so I like to put a mix of those in there. And I always have some don'ts that are specifically for the locals that are there. And it's funny because then the tourist like, I don't know what he's talking about. I've been to Paris 3 times. I've never had dealt with this. I'm like, yeah, but the locals like, oh my God, you're so right. They're like, they'll like the little fist pump. Like that's the best. I'll go to some places that like Wales. I was back in Wales, like to be like, your video, nice. Fist bump walks on by. I'm like,
Nice.
thanks, man. I
There you go.
appreciate
So
that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
Well, and it was funny. I was watching your don'ts in America, or your like mistakes you make, and the thing that got commented on the most, which made me chuckle, was our greetings, and it's
How are
like,
you, Isaac?
yeah. So you had said like, don't think if they're saying how are you, that's a question. It's just a statement.
Ça va,
But like
ça
ça
va,
there was
ça va, ça va.
so many comments
Exactly.
about that, and like that was the most commented thing. That was actually quite later on in the video as well. So I just thought that was interesting. That's what people grabbed onto because it was like so shocking for a lot of cultures that we don't just say hi, we say how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like Kim was saying. Like I'm like, you do that in other language too. Like in French, "ça va?" Is it going? Is it
Right.
go? It's going. Like you do the same thing.
There's no
Brazil,
emotional
in
reaction.
Portugal.
We're just saying it to
Yeah.
I know.
say it. Like it's
Because
just
like
part
Brazil,
of
it's
the
to the
culture
bank,
thing.
to everything good, everything good.
Right,
There's no question. It's just statement. Move on. But it's so
Right.
funny how many people get like really upset with it. Like, why do they keep asking me? I'm like, they're not asking you. It's just a statement.
Yeah.
Right.
To just saying hi.
Say it
Don't
out.
respond
Think
too
of it that way.
much.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I do want to talk about like your double life that you live too, because you are, both a traveler and a
I am
business professor,
full time to
Yeah.
travel time.
which is
Yeah, there you go.
full time to
Um,
travel time.
and-
Yeah, Isaac.
So you kind of actually made me kind of relook at my life a bit because one of my most important professors I ever had ran a successful business and then also taught at the university. And so, for me, he actually taught real life success, like based on his knowledge, where a lot of the other professors I had kind of taught like best case scenario situations that weren't real.
Yeah.
And so because I was getting on this call with you, I actually emailed him today and just thanked him for everything that he had done
cool.
to teach and support me and gave him some updates on,
And his secretary was very excited.
yeah. I could only
That's
find his
cool.
secretary's email, so I haven't heard back from him yet, but she said she was going to pass on the email.
That's cool.
But yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, how does it really help you with being a professor that you actually have this real life marketing success on YouTube, being, quite successful in that and in traveling? Does that really help you bring in real lessons and like
yeah.
actually, so like, how does that affect your teaching and how do your students gain from that?
So I teach different marketing courses. So I teach marketing in general. So but
Yeah.
I'll do like an introduction to marketing course, which like all business students have to take. And this is one of those like you sit in a lecture hall with like 500 people kind of
Mhm.
classes. So for them, I don't actually bring it up very much in that class until like we might get to like the social media stuff. When we teach that, then I might bring it up. But now, especially now, a lot of those students during COVID, their like geography teacher in 8th grade was showing my videos to them. So I'll get a lot of people like, I'll get students every time I walk on the quad. Like I go through like I'll get some of those, hey, Wolters World. And it's always, I used to watch your videos when I'm a kid. I'm like, I wish you still watch my videos. But they bring it up. No, but like for me, because I do a lot of stuff with like incoming students, and we'll do Zoom calls and stuff like, hey, or like, Google, whatever, like just pick your platform. And I
Yeah.
usually sit here, but this is my home office, and I've got my, I got teaching award, then that they always see the gold play button. And like, I'll be doing my talk, and then the little comment section, did you see the gold play button? Is that a gold play button? Dude's got a gold play button. They're like, yeah, that's that. And they're like, oh my God. And so it gives like having that instant credibility. Like students will talk smack and like, I got that. What do you want?
Just
What do you
brush
want
your
from me?
shoulder off?
Like I don't have to say anything, which
Yeah.
is helpful. But also I've always made it a point. Like I have a teaching philosophy. I've actually, so one of the teaching award over there and the teaching award over there, like you can't see, there's 2 more awards that
Yeah.
I got them specifically because of this philosophy. It's you gotta be crazy to be a
Yeah,
good
it's a
professor.
crazy philosophy.
Yes.
For you.
Yeah, so it's
We
like,
did our
well, then we'll go into
research.
it. So it's like, you got to care about the students, right? You got to care about their success and about them because you don't care about them. It's like your clients. You don't care about your clients. You're not good at. Like, I care about the people that travel for me. Like,
Yeah.
I help travel because I'm like, I'm a little part of their vacation. Like, I feel really good about that. So I care about them and their success. Then you got to have realistic examples. Students will not get widgets. That's where I think of some professors that don't have real world experience, they do go from that case study academic world and they don't have like, it's like telling someone else's story. It never works. You have to tell
Yeah.
your own story.
Mhm.
And so I can talk about that. So then it's like actual experience. And I always say it's like either you have the actual experience, you bring it in the classroom, or you find people, because a lot of universities will have development office, and there's always alumni that want to come talk. Bring them in. Like I have a student of mine who works at LinkedIn. And I have him come into class, but hey, would you like to come in and talk to my social media course? Because I can talk about LinkedIn, but I'm just a professor. I've got you with real experience there. They're like, and he was a student there. So that gives them extra credibility. And then it's zeal, have a zeal for teaching, like have the energy, because we all hated those boring professors.
Oh, please.
And then I always say, you can make all the difference as a professor, but realize you are not the only thing there is. Meaning, you can really make a big impact on a student's life. You don't even realize it, but also realize some of those students, they got so many other things going on in their life that you shouldn't think you're a god and you're everything. So be understanding to them. So that's kind of like my overall thing. Yeah. And I bring that into, it's crazy. And I bring that into my classroom as well. And I think that helps because I also worked as a marketing consultant. I do like marketing consulting, like for pro bono work for nonprofits on the side, so I can have that to bring that in. So it makes it much more like, I did these things. Yeah. And I teach my classes much more in you're going to work and here's what you need to know when you go to work. Like I did a course on influencer marketing last week and I'm like, hey, if you've got a blog, here's what you need to do. Here's where it's like, if you want to be an influencer, here's this. And then for the half, you don't want to be influencers, we've got to work with them. Here's what you need to know. And so it's very much from that perspective. And that's really made it a lot easier to teach stuff because students are like, yes, you've lived it, you know it. Yeah. So that makes it a lot easier to talk.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is if you are about to go to college, go to University of Illinois and look up Mark Wolters.
There you go.
If you want
Princess of Marketing, Battle 320. At the Gates College of Business.
And we've actually, because we won an award for our marketing company from my university at Buffalo last year. And so we've been actually being asked to speak at a lot of different like student classes. And we just did a couple last month.
It was like a tech entrepreneurship class. There's a digital marketing class.
Both of them went well, but one went so well, she immediately reached out and was like, can I book you for my next year's class? And
She's like, I know this is far in advance.
Probably.
You travel all the time.
Like, we don't know where we'll be, but we probably can make it.
That's awesome, though. She said that students were like, this is hugely helpful. Because, students are quiet sometimes, too. And I was like,
they've gotten a lot quieter.
Yeah, and they don't ask questions, but I knew what they would do on that Zoom call. I was like, if you found any value in this call, you hit that reaction button with the thumbs up. And 100% of all students on that call all gave us a thumbs up. Like, nice. Great. Good. Yeah, your research really dives into like cross-cultural marketing and entrepreneurship too, since we're talking about it. Have you noticed any like travel destinations where the unwritten rules or social etiquette were just completely surprising? And how do you think other travelers can learn from like those kinds of cultural contrasts?
So I think the cultural contrast is basically how much of a culture shock you have when you go there. And I think that's when I think for in general, American tourists, when they go to Asia, they probably have the biggest culture shock in terms of like density. Like you don't understand, like I was in New York. I know it has a lot of people. Like, no, you don't understand. You go to Beijing, you'll understand what it's like to have a lot of people everywhere, or like, the personal space bubble does not exist, like that's one of those things. And I think for some people when they go, it can be a little overwhelming, because some people aren't used to that. So like you come from a place like, I remember my mom, she came to visit me. I lived in Lisbon, I had my PhD there, and she came to visit me. And I was staying in a high rise, staying at a buddy of mine's, like renting. My buddy was working in like Dubai or something, so I was renting her place. And my mom came to stay with me. She's like, "Oh," I'm like, "How'd you sleep, Mom?" She's like, "I couldn't sleep at all." I'm like, "What's wrong? Is it better?" And it's like, "No, it's so noisy." I'm like, "What?" We're like on the 19th floor. Like, what? It's because there's a highway that's like 3 miles away, and the cars going by, and she's lived on like a golf course or like a farm field her whole life. So she's like that was like a thing. And I'm like, that's why that's why I like to do my videos. People, those things that some people say would surprise them and like upset them. If you know about it beforehand, it's not a surprise. It's like a pleasant surprise. Like, I knew that was going to happen. And so that can help.
Yeah, I remember walking into the Forbidden Gardens in China, and it wasn't me walking. We were like part of a throng, and you just had to move.
Go with the flow, like
with the throng.
Yeah. You're like, if I jumped, I would just hover.
Yeah,
Go
pretty
back.
much. Like you barely were taking steps. You were just kind of shuffling
Wow.
with the entire group. Like I've never been in a situation in my life like that.
I felt that in
Yeah.
New York City. Like, I came from the Midwest originally where I make eye contact with everyone. I smiled, they smile back. So, like, going to somewhere so foreign as New York City was, like, so hard.
I looked
so
over.
extroverted and Midwestern.
I looked over at Kim and she's
Yeah.
like staring people down trying to make eye contact.
They wouldn't look at me.
And I was like, Kim, if
Yeah,
if
'cause
you
like-
tried to make eye contact with everyone in New York City, you'd go crazy. Like, so you just don't make eye contact with people. Like, but she's like
I tried.
staring them down, trying to make eye
Really
contact.
tried hard. I'd get under them. Like, it didn't work. It didn't work.
It
I
was
failed.
funny. It was funny.
But speaking
I
of
love
fun
it.
things, you ready for game time?
Sure, let's do it.
We're playing the most unexpected game. Thank you. So, essentially, we're going to ask you a question, a multitude
Okay.
of questions, and we all have to give our answer on what is that most unexpected thing. So, the first one, start thinking, put your thinking cap on.
Number one. And remember, folks, they do not tell us the questions beforehand.
No.
Keep
They
it
don't even tell
exciting.
themselves.
This is off the cuff. I'm not actually sure of
We
all
don't
these
even
questions
know.
either.
I make this stuff up as we go, man. But what's the most unexpected place that you loved way more than you thought you would, and now you would
Rwanda.
absolutely recommend
Rwanda.
it to everyone?
Rwanda. Like,
Okay.
you don't have to finish the sentence. It's Rwanda.
Yeah.
Like, when we went in 2019, and we're going to go back. Like, we went, and like there was nothing out there. Like my usual research of reading. Like, you asked me about research earlier. Like, I'll read about 100 blogs, watch 20 to 30 YouTube videos, and then I'll reach out to our fans from that area, and then I'll look up more stuff, and then everything I could get. And then I go to the destination, and when I'm there, I'll do more research. When I'm there, talk to the locals, then make the video at like the end of the trip. For some of the, like those. And with Rwanda, like looking for stuff in Rwanda, there was nothing. Everything was genocide. I had a East Africa book from Lonely Planet that had some stuff in there, and it wasn't. I mean, it was sort of helpful for some things. I'm like, this is gonna be like, this is like back in the day. It's like when I used to go backpacking South America back in the '90s. It was like, all right, man, this is like,
Figure it out.
I'm the bus dropped me off. Let's figure it out. And we went, and I remember we landed like 1 a.m, and we get in the taxi and we're heading to our hotel, and I'm like looking at the highway. I'm like, dude, this highway is incredibly clean. I'm like, you could eat off of the highway. We'd been to Japan the previous like November, and I'm like, this is like Japan level cleanliness.
Wow.
I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, this is cool. And then the people are so friendly. And then the food, it's like lots of vegetarian stuff there, not because of like religious kind of stuff, but it's really because like I'm not going to kill the cow, because a cow gives me dung that I can burn for fuel. It gives me fertilizer. It gives me milk. It gives me blood, like I can do stuff with, so I'm not going to kill it for the meat. I'm going to use it for all that stuff as long as I can. So there's always incredible like vegetarian dishes there. There's one, I can't remember the name of it. It's banana and peanut, which,
That is
when
my
you see
jam.
it, if you saw it, you'd think it was like if you go to an Indian restaurant, they give you like the tikka
Like a
masala
curry?
kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like a curry. It looks like a curry. It's not, but it looks like that. But it's peanut butter and banana. And oh my God, it was so good. Like, we've been trying to find a recipe, like a Rwanda recipe book. It's like impossible to find. But we were there. I'm like, this place was awesome. Like, my wife, we watched a Travel Scope by Joseph Rosendo, and he went to Rwanda, and I was like, that looks really cool. And we're like, and I said, we need to go. And we've always gone places like people are like, no, you can't go there. We're like, well, why not? And so everyone was like, you can't go to the genocide. And at that time, it was like, the genocide is 25 years ago. We still get people, you can't go around the genocide. Like, that was 30 years ago. Like, they've come so far. They don't hide it. They don't brush it under they don't make it go away. Like, you go to the genocide memorials, like, they tell you how people died. You're like, oh my God. Yeah, and they're like, you have to be like 13 to go in and stuff. But they're like, we bring, like, when the kids get a certain age, we bring everyone here so they understand, so it doesn't happen again. And like, we were there, and I was like, oh my God. And then when we were there, most people just know about the gorillas in the mist. Like, you go see the gorillas, and they're like, yeah, people come, and they take the helicopter, they fly to Kigali, a helicopter out here, or whatever, and they go see the gorillas, they go back, and they never see anything in Rwanda.
Yeah.
And you can do the Big Five. You can see the Big Five, the safari stuff when you're in Rwanda. You can see the gorillas. You can go out and see this stuff. The people were so wonderful. We were going all out throughout the country. Like I said, my kids were playing soccer with the the local kids and things, and
Yeah.
everyone was so friendly. People are going crazy because we're going around the country, and they're like, tourists, and they weren't like, give us money. They're like, oh my God, they were just saying hi,
Yeah.
and
Thanks
everywhere
for
we
coming
went,
to
and
our
then
country.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they would see our kids because our kids were younger at the time, and they're
Yeah.
like, children too, because no one ever brought them there because like the history of the genocide.
Right.
And like, I mean,
That's
it was
really
such an incredible
valuable.
experience. Like, fell
Yeah.
in love with it. Fell in love with it. Go back and like
Yeah,
that.
all right.
No doubt.
I like that. What's
Very
yours,
cool.
Isaac? What's your most unexpected?
Yeah, I would have to say London. After I graduated college, I took a month to traveling Europe, and I honestly was only flying through London. For some reason, I had this like connotation, or like I thought they would be stuck up or something. I don't know why I thought these things, but there actually was an airline strike while I was in London, and so I couldn't fly out. So I was trapped there for a week. I ended up falling in love with the city. I just thought, the people there were great. The free museums, I'd never been to such high end, like amazing free museums in my life. I mean, these are like world class museums and they're free. The Tube
Mm-hmm.
is probably one of the most like it's one of the easiest to navigate, subway systems I've ever been on, and it's just hilarious when they say, "Please mind the gap,"
Still say that.
the markets there. I mean, I went to this one market that had like food from 100 different countries, and then like all surrounding it was like local artists. It's just like I just thought it was. I ended up really, really enjoying my time in London. So yeah, that was mine because I just for some reason going into it, I just had this idea that like it wasn't going to be a very cool place, and ended up being like a very cool place.
Yeah, and also
That's
extra
cool.
cool for you, right? Because you got trapped in London, so you had
Yeah.
to stay there longer than you expected, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty good at making friends, so I was staying in a hostel every day. I had somebody to go out and do something with, and
This was pre-Kim,
yeah.
like before I was involved.
yeah.
So
And,
I haven't made it to London
How does
yet.
he even remember that? Like, I don't
I
remember
know.
being jostled.
Hey,
I
this
didn't even
guy's
exist.
memory
I I got married and then my life started.
Yeah, right. I gotta write things down in a bookmark. That's how I remember things. But for me,
Yeah.
my most unexpected place was actually Toulon, France.
Oh, yeah?
Isaac, I think you, Isaac, decided like we were gonna go to Toulon, right? Or did somebody recommend it first?
No, it was just
We were.
I found an Airbnb that was like
Thank you.
really reasonably priced, and I'd spent a little bit more on a different Airbnb. So I was like, well, let's go to this other place. It's still on the French Riviera. I don't really know anything about it,
Yeah,
but
so we were going to
let's
Toulon,
go check it out.
and the locals are like, "Why are you going to Toulon? You
They're
crazy!"
like Americans don't go to
Like,
Toulon.
no, it's just like a military naval something or other. Like, don't go there. And we're like, great, we will go there more now because you said that. That means it's gonna be awesome. And it ended up being absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like Toulon, I mean, we had one of my worst B&B experiences, but it transported us to a great Airbnb with like all glass windows overlooking the ocean. We got to see like the cruise ship come in, and it was such a safe area. Like, yeah, guys were walking around with guns, like it is a naval area, but like they walked like a school of fish. They were just like doing their thing. They never smiled, but I felt very well protected, you know?
Yeah.
They'd walk around, but it was that kind of community and walking in France where like Isaac was like, sure, go walk to the hypermarket and hang out. Like, I feel fine with you walking
Yeah,
alone.
because there's a huge
Yeah.
walking section in Toulon, which is amazing.
Yeah.
We just happened to be there during Jazz Fest,
Of
so like
course.
we could literally
Oh.
walk out of our place, walk to one of the many squares, and
For
just go see a
free.
jazz festival.
So much
Free
planned.
jazz
That's
every
awesome.
day.
Phenomenal.
I know.
And before we got there, we were in Marseille and we were taking a sunset cruise, and we told the captain we were going to Toulon, and he got really excited, and he just whipped out this huge map.
He just pulled it out over like it was massive. I haven't even seen a map like that. In
Right, like
years,
this is
but
like a
he's like,
legit naval map that he pulls out.
you gotta go to this island, and it's like Ile de Porquerolles. And I was like, what's there? And he's like, you just have to go. And we're like, okay.
So I found a ticket to get to the island, and we ended up going there. And it turns out that this island is a national park. We didn't even realize it until we got there, and they only allow 5,000 people a day onto the island. And then like you can rent a bike and bike to one of hundreds of beaches on the island, or
It was
You know, it was
incredible.
a- it was
C'est
really cool.
incroyable. You know, like speaking French
Yes.
on
Yeah.
that one. But
Yeah, it was-
that was a great experience. I know we only made it through one most unexpected. So next, most unexpected. What's the most unexpected animal you've ever encountered while staying at like a lodge or an Airbnb or hotel, hostel, camping, etc.?
So there's the swarm of mosquitoes when I was staying in the Pantanal in southwest Brazil, where literally I could watch my like mosquito band start working less and less because
Oh,
once the like sun went down, they came out and I had the light. It's like in the movies, you know, when you're like, oh, the light's getting less and less. Oh no, like in Harry Potter kind of stuff.
Oh no.
And I could see like the wristband working less and less because like it was like, oh, I had like a
oh,
10-foot radius. An hour later, it was like 9, then 8, and I was going to bed and it's like 6. I'm like, oh man, I don't have another one. I'm like,
oh
I'm
my
gonna get it.
gosh.
So like that was kind of funny. But then there's other
Unexpected.
ones. Yeah. But that was like I knew there was gonna be a lot of mosquitoes. That was one. But I think there's one was it Kookaburra? You know, like they like big they look like a wombat, but they're like a big rodent in South America. And I remember I was in the old Buenos Aires Zoo. I was studying abroad there. And I'm like walking around and all of a sudden this thing like is like I thought it was like a little kid was like nudging me
Oh,
like on my leg, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I never followed me when I was in college. Like I didn't.
that's not a child.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, it was like I'm like this looks like something like I'm a horrible artist, but if I tried to draw, I don't know, an animal with 4 legs, this is what it would look like general animal with 4 legs, like a dog, but it's this huge headed thing, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? I'm like what? I'm like, how are they out? They're just like wandering around the zoo, like, oh yeah, because they're totally chill. They don't bother anybody.
So chill. The
I'm like,
most
so they
chillest
just
of
like
any
wander around.
animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, but I still remember seeing it. I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, there's like 4 of them. They're like sitting behind me. I'm like, okay. I was a little surprised there.
That's
But
so
there's
funny.
always
That's a good
the
one.
I haven't had any like too many snake things or anything like that. I do remember we were in Costa Rica on a tour and the guy stops. He goes, turn around. Well, then the say, well, tour gives goes like, turn around, go that way now, slowly.
Oh
And I
God,
knew,
oh
like,
God.
wait, if the guide's like, turn
What?
around, go that way, you go.
What was
This
it?
lady's having the whole Karen moment. And then he's like, let's go. And he's like, oh yeah, that was blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what it was. He's like, there was a snake there that will kill you like instantly or something. And I
Oh
was like,
God.
I don't know if it was that bad, but he's like, we need to not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's somewhat expected on one of those kind of experiences, though. You don't know what you're gonna get into in there. I
Exactly.
know, for me, we were staying in an Airbnb one time, and we already knew that she had a pet, but it was a pot-bellied pig, and her name was Scarlet, and she lived at the Airbnb, and we were like, she walks around, like, she just hangs out, and so we're inside,
Yeah.
and they decided to put her outside. She's an indoor-outdoor piggy, and so she was
That's what
outside.
it is.
Yeah.
She's outside the sliding glass door. And we're in the kitchen. We're eating, I'm pretty sure, Isaac.
Yeah.
This pig walks up to the sliding glass door, smushes her piggy nose against the door, and opens the sliding
Opens
glass
the door.
door.
We couldn't believe it.
And then was like, you feed me? And they told us, like, we could feed her an apple. I gave her apple. She ate the whole apple, like, this genius little pig. Again, like, you don't know what you're going to expect when
Yeah.
you stay places
I did
sometimes.
not expect that the pig to come up and like very strategically open the door.
Oh,
So
she
crazy.
knew.
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing.
She did.
Yeah, and she got her reward.
Yeah.
Right.
What's yours,
She's like,
Isaac?
How do I get 2 apples from these guys?
Yeah, she already had one 5 minutes ago from someone else, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, yours actually came to mind. One is this is actually while we were out driving between 2 different places, but we were in Tasmania, Australia, and we watched a wallaby from. He was like on a bank. He hopped once and hit the road, and then hopped one more time, and then landed on the bank on the other side. And I just was in dumbfounded shock to watch a wallaby because they're not that tall.
No, they're
Be able
smooth,
Yeah.
to
right?
clear a road with banks in essentially 2 jumps. I was just like, what just happened? I just remember it just being like dumbfounded that it could jump that distance that fast, while we were driving.
So they've learned how to not get hit by cars? Is that what you're saying?
I never saw
Oh, they
any
still get hit by
wallaby
cars,
road
believe
trip. Yeah, so I didn't see any, but
I know, I hear that kangaroos are like the deer of Australia. They
Yeah.
even look like
They
it.
are.
I mean, they
I
have
lived in
the same face.
Australia, and I remember my one day I opened up my window and there's like a deer outside the thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a kangaroo! A kangaroo outside the window.
yeah, it's like,
And then
there's no
my
deer.
host
It's
heads
like
out there. He's like,
confusion.
get out of here. I'm like, wait. He's like, no, they're pests, man. Like, we don't
Yeah.
like them. I'm like, oh. And then that was like the same time the first time I saw a koala bear in like real life, and it was like, I'm like, smells like whiskey. They smell like little drunkards.
Yeah.
They are
Well,
little drunkards.
they're just getting super high because we drove the Great Ocean Road and a tour guide pulled us over and was like, all right, there's probably a koala here because they only eat like 3 different types of eucalyptus tree, and this one gets them super high. So they're usually chilling at these trees, and so we got to go see a couple of them moving in slow motion.
Their eyes are so squinty all the time. Like,
They were
it makes
so
so much
high.
sense. All right, we're gonna change gears and hit back on the question game, but you kind of mentioned it earlier, Mark, but a lot of people, not a lot of people, there's some content creators that where it's all like beaches and cocktails and luxury, and what actually happens behind the scenes. What's something that you can talk about that's hard or surprising about creating a sustainable travel lifestyle that people often don't see the behind the scenes of?
Like for me, I've created I've set mine up that it's about honesty, so I'm not doing super. I mean, I literally have my tripod and my camera, and I talk to my camera, and then I do B-roll with my phone. So I've cut out a lot of costs right there. So I have a lot of fancy stuff, right? But I'll see people that'll literally take like 30 or 40 like shots or 30, 40 takes. And I'm like, dude, we're not, like I say, we're not Disney, we're not Warner Brothers, we don't have to be perfect, it's YouTube. And they're like, no, it has to be perfect. I'm like, it's not going to make a difference. Like in this space, it doesn't make as much of a difference. It's like, you're not like, you don't have to do it all those times. So I've seen people like literally like have to get the exact thing. And then you'll see, like, you ever see there's a meme of this guy and he's like doing like a food thing. Like, oh, this is the greatest burger, la la. And then it's like someone's taking a picture of him while he's filming. Then when he's not filming, he looks like this totally depressed human. Like, life sucks. I can't believe I'm doing this for like a free burger. And like people do that. Like, and people don't understand. It's like, I mean, we were in TravelCon. I was talking to some people that were on some of the like tours they went on, and there's like people like they're like, who pays? They're literally just following the M&Ms to the next job and following the next M&M. So it's never really their business. They're just trying to go a place that's going to pay for them to go travel. So they just use a way to travel. That's not a way you can like sustain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so if you want to sustain your lifestyle, you have to think about your own brand, your own business, and think more long term. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's Insta famous. It's Instagram and I'm Insta famous. You can have a video that gets 2 million, 3 million views. It's only going to make you like $10,000 if it's horizontal.
If that, yeah.
And it's vertical, it'll make you a few $100s. It's not going to do anything, or less. Like, it's like these things, and if you can't repeat it, it's worthless. It's like a birthday gift. Oh, I got a birthday gift. You should have a birthday coming next year. You might get money from grandma again, but no. And so that's where I think I tell people is like, you got to be, think about what you can really do long term. Because most content creators, not just in travel, but they usually make it 2 or 3 years. They're peak and they're done. And that's where you see people come and they'll go. And I've seen this over the years. I've seen people come and go and come and go. And the other opportunities, or they can't sustain a lifestyle, or life changes. Like, it's easy to be a content creator on your own because you're only here to worry about feeding yourself. But then when you're married or you got kids, things change. That's why you see a lot of content creators with their kids when they're little. I'll tell you, once your kid gets to junior high, they want to be on the soccer team. It's like, I want to show them the world. Like, I've shown my kid the world, but they also have to be on the soccer team. Yeah. And that's one of those things. It's like, do you let the social media stuff control you, or do you control your social media? And people that have all their eggs in one basket, it's like, I got to get these brand deals. It's the only way I'm paying my bills. Yeah. You're not really controlling anything. You're just looking for the next brand deal. And the brand deals aren't what they used to be.
Yeah. They don't care about you.
Because they're like, because the brand's like, we can find some micro influencers, or we can find somebody else that'll just do it for free. Because I've had stuff where we negotiate, like, these are companies I've used, and we're talking about doing things together, and then all of a sudden, no, we have a new management team. They're no longer going to pay for this, so you can come on the cruise. We'll give you the cruise. I'm like, I don't need a cruise. Like, I'm not a cruise person. I was doing this to make the content that we agreed on, and they're like, well, we're not doing that anymore. Because
they're flaky.
We can get all these other people do it and not pay. I'm like, or you can get someone that's going to do a good job. Right? So it's interesting. And that's where you have some, I think, when you reach out to brands to work with, because I recommend reaching out to the brands directly, because sometimes there's companies that will help you find them, but if there's brands you really believe in, like, there's stuff I love, and I'm like, look, I would love to work with you here, but come with ideas for them. Don't be like, I want to work with you. Okay, what's your idea? It's kind of like when people want to do collabs. It's like, I always ask, let's do collabs. What should we do? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, let's think of some stuff. Like, let's brainstorm. Let's have ideas to work together. Because we can say, let's do something. But unless we have something we're going to do, You know, it's like it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you make that first phone call. You're like, "Can I talk to Kelly?" And Kelly answers the phone. She's like, "What's up, Mark?" "Well, I don't know what to say." You know, you're like, you know, you gotta have a plan
Like, step
to
one
have these
time.
things. Do that.
Do you like
Yeah,
dinosaurs?
I thought of that too.
Yeah.
I thought, Mitchell's versus Machines. We can't get enough of
Yeah.
that movie.
Do you like dinosaurs?
If you and your kids have not seen that together,
Oh, we see it.
oh,
We have the
thank
DVD.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how long we've had
it's-
it. We have the DVD.
Never gets old, Mark.
So I think one of the things like I really saw from going to TravelCon is Kim and I really think made such a good choice in not trying to create a travel lifestyle around being a content creator. What we did is we created a business first. Like this had nothing to do with travel creation, content creation, anything like that. We built a marketing agency. We're able to systemize it, staff it, and then that allowed us to travel full time. And what we saw at TravelCon is we make more money and had more travel freedom than almost every content
Oh my
creator there,
gosh.
including most of the very large travel
That
creators.
was mind blowing and
which we didn't quite
eye-opening.
expect,
And
honestly.
we earned
Yeah.
a high five from Mark Wolters himself.
Yeah. So now we can create
So
content.
fun.
And again, we're not like, we don't have to chase the deals or whatnot. Like, we don't, the first thing people ask, oh, how are you monetizing it? I'm not monetizing it.
But we
right
are
now.
making a lot of money.
Right. But we have our other business and we get to meet awesome, really cool people through the podcast. And that's really what we're doing this for and to share our knowledge because we've been able, just like you, we've been able to help quite a lot of people just through advice. And then they come back and say, oh, the thing you told us was the best thing we did on that whole trip. And so, like, that's really what it's about. And I think, you know, we can just have a lot more fun with it because we're not reliant on it, you know, to make
Yeah.
our living.
And,
Yeah.
and I think you can see that, especially like Instagram, because it's funny because like Instagram, TikTok, you can fake it because it's so short. Whenever they do like lives and things, you can kind of see it more in those kind of things. When they move into long form, you just kind of see like, and you can see the strength that's in them. Like, I wouldn't like, I mean, we were talking to this one at TravelCon, there's one, and she's like, it's like, oh, you just a post every day, and like 2 or 3 of them every week are sponsored posts. Yeah, I'm like, so are you really even making content? Or are you just making ads?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then you kind of think about it, it's like, how's that going to work long term? Like, would it be better if you only had like one a week and then you made content, people came back to it, that it was more natural? Because what I've seen is like, if you get ones that do a really good natural way of integrating it, that's a really good way to do the sponsored stuff. But then some of them like, how do I integrate Omaha steaks into a travel thing? You know, like sometimes it's not
find a
possible.
way.
Yeah. Anything with food, Kim will find a way.
Yeah.
Well, and also our motto is like, Isaac is always like, all right, we're about to get on the podcast, embrace your weird. Like you said, be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Like, if we didn't have that, one, it would be way less fun. And two, I feel like we'd have a completely different listeners. Like, you guys like my weird, right? Comment below.
Well, that's it. You have to have
That's the
something like.
thing.
That's the thing. It's like, because I like talking to you guys. We were traveling. I'm like, these two are cool. I like these two. Like, you are fun to talk to. And sometimes what you see is some creators, like when you meet them in person, they have no personality. But they're more introverts. And one, they can be extroverts when they film their stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
That gives them opportunity. But, you know, if you want to like get your own personality out there, that's what people want because they want to know you.
Yeah.
They want to be friends with you. Like, I signed up with you guys. Like, yeah, let's do it because I like talking to you.
I know, because I can feel all that positive energy. Like, I was just like, this is my guy. Who is this guy? Like, I love that. That's awesome. But I did want to mention, I know we are almost at a full hour already, but we're going to keep on going. You mentioned family, and that's obviously an aspect I want to talk about, because Isaac and I do have this thing called, like, freedom of not having kids or pets. So I can imagine that makes it a wild bit easier for most people to travel. But family is really important to you. I definitely get that from your videos and the way you highlight them and everything. And it's awesome that you actually get to travel with them and you don't just leave them in the dust.
Yeah,
That's real nice.
Yeah.
But how do you balance like family time with travel and being a professor? Like, what's a few tips that you would recommend to someone to just help make sure like the whole family has a good time while they're traveling?
One, take the family. Like, I know a lot of people that travel almost as much as we do, and they literally never take their kids. I'm like, how are you even parenting them? I'm like, maybe not as much as I do, but like, I'm like, yeah, like I see all these pictures, they'll post all this stuff. I'm like, where are the kids? Where are the kids? I'm like, yeah, like bringing your kids with you, even when they're little, is a fantastic experience. People are like, oh, it's a waste of money. Really, is it? I got to see my he'll be 14 this weekend. When he was learning to walk, I saw him take his first steps on his own in a Paris hotel room and at the Eiffel Tower. Like, yeah, he doesn't remember that, but I remember it. Like, I have those memories. You know, and that's what I get upset when people are like, oh, they don't remember, there's no point. Kids don't appreciate, like, you know what? Adults don't appreciate it either. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
true.
don't like. That's why people like they kind of make an excuse. They're like, oh, kids don't travel. No, kids travel fine. It's parents that have the harder time because when
Mm.
kids are having a rough, like melting down on the plane, which happens. But last time I checked, there's a lot of people that melt down on the planes too and get arrested. Just saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like, I'm just like, hey, if the parents at least trying, I have no problem. But it's the parents that don't do anything. They're like, they think the flight attendant should be babysitters kind of stuff. That's where there's issues. But like we go and like we always have like the kids always have their own little like backpack with their stuff so they can have their game or their toy or whatever. They can do that. And so they got to be good travelers doing that and taking them with me. I mean, when I go traveling myself, I mean, my kids are 18 and 4 or 13 now, you know? So like people see them, they've seen them since they were babies to now. And I'm like, yeah. So when I go on I always do a couple like solo trips every year where I just go and film. And I'll go see friends, whatever. But I'm like, I'll get to the airport, and I'll call Jocelyn, and she's like, "I miss you too. Why are you calling?" I'm like, "No, I just miss you guys." Like, Mark, you literally just left the house. And I was like, yeah, I always had like kind of like this. Oh, I miss you guys because I'm so used to traveling with them. It becomes one of those things that makes it more enjoyable. That's part of our
Yeah.
family, and that's what
Yeah.
it's like. Travel is important to me, and that's where we put the money on, and that's where we put our stuff on. And we've never had cable. Well, no. The apartment we rented in Portugal had cable, so that's before the 13-year-old was born. Like we haven't had it since. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no, like they're all of a sudden there. There's 2 plane tickets to Europe every year. Like and so it's always like I want to go and I want to take them. And what's been cool is we've also done what we call multi-generational travel. Like my parents will go with us. We've
Mm.
taken
That's
my
awesome.
mother-in-law to Italy, and it was like now they have stories. It's not just. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like my kids still would make cookies with my mom. Like they have those stories. But
Yeah.
it's like have experience. Like oh hey Caleb. Remember when you were trying to take a poop behind a tree and then the monkeys all jumped out of the tree and chased you off? Like
Oh
you
my
had great
God.
stories like that with the grandparents. And we
Whoa.
all laughed and laughed and laughed. And he was like, oh my God. We're like,
We'll cherish that memory forever.
I know, that's one of those times I'm like, I guess it was like, be in the moment. But I was laughing so hard I couldn't even get a camera out or anything. So I was like, it was just like
Great.
running with his pants down.
That's so funny.
And so, no, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why, and I understand people like it is more expensive to travel with your kids. So I know they can't go all the time for some people, but I would say like don't leave them behind. Don't think they're going to bring it down because we like integrate our kids. Like we have our kids choose destinations we travel to every year.
Mm.
Like Caleb is fantastic for finding like I'm like, hey, find us a restaurant find us a fun restaurant, find a good restaurant, like, and he'll look online. He'll use social media to find stuff like, hey, I found these ones nearby. Let's try this one because I knew this guy and he had good reviews. And I'll look it up and go there and like they become part of it. Like we'll
That's
have
cool.
Liam like, hey, like we was in Panama. It's just Liam and I, and like, hey, okay, so here are the 3 tours we have on offer. We can take a catamaran out to the boats or out to the islands. We can go through the jungle to the islands on the other side where they have no electricity, or we can go in the Panama Canal and go like to Monkey Island and see the sloths and stuff. And he's like, Monkey Island with the sloths. All right. So like then he was all about it because he chose it, and
Yeah.
so it's his thing. And so that's one of those things you bring them as part of it. And I just feel it brings your family close together because you have more experiences. And it's tough to get experience with kids because, like they all have their, phones and stuff, but so, some of the adults,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's one thing is like, well, at least when we do things, it gets a chance for them to put the phone down and we can do some
Yeah.
things together.
Yeah, that's big. That's huge.
Yeah,
I mean,
I-
a lot of that and getting
think
more
that's
real
Damn, they're
experiences.
expensive.
I know, but
But
it's memories.
And I love your
That's
idea
right.
of involving them,
Memories are
like,
priceless.
and involving them in like the decision-making process. I
Yeah, I
think
love
that's a
that.
phenomenal idea that gets them engaged in the travel. And honestly, I don't think Kim and I would necessarily be together if her grandparents didn't take her traveling as a kid.
We road trip to so many national parks together, and we've been on road trips twice now where, I'd be alone with them, not my own parents, like one time
Yeah.
with my sister. And that, I mean, wow, like, of course I remember. I was 7 years old the first time, I don't remember a ton, but what I do remember was having the time of my life, and a couple core moments where I'm like, ooh, like something's happening.
Well, and because she was exposed to that at a young age when she met me, and I'm like setting up a life where I can travel full time, she was like much more open to it than most other people I've come across because she had those experiences and like had such great memories around them.
Right,
So,
I had a full-time job in the veterinary field. It wasn't like I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship or traveling. Like, we would go to your point, like I told Kat Fan too, the host of TravelCon, like she said most people just have trips, vacations where you're actually just going and visiting family. Like, that's what it is. So we would go to Arizona every year, and I was like, yeah, I'm so excited to go on vacation. But it was really just seeing my grandparents and family, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, it was different.
Ohio here. We went from Illinois to Ohio.
I know, that's a big trip.
New York to New Jersey for us.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, Isaac, why don't you ask a couple more questions, and then we'll play the wrap-up game.
Yeah, Isaac, make yourself useful, pal. You can't do all the work.
So what is one travel myth that you love to bust? Like something that a lot of people just like think about traveling and you're like, hey, that's not actually true.
It's too dangerous to go there.
Mm.
Oh my God. Every don't video I make, someone's like, don't go there. It's not safe. I'm like, I could put like unicorn land with fluffy pillow land. Like, too dangerous. You'll poke your eye out and you'll choke on the pillows. You know, like, all the time. And I'm like, look, like, they're so different. They're going to be mean to you. I'm like, no, if you're a good tourist, you're a good traveler, people are nice to you. Like people get really scared. Like, are people going to be mean to Americans now when you go abroad? Like, dude, if you're not a jerk, they're going to be nice to you anywhere you go. You know, like, and that's one of those things. And I like busting that myth because a lot of people don't go because they're scared. Because they don't know, because they watch the news or they watch somebody comments on something like, has that person been there? Like, that's my one. It's like, have you been there? Well, no, I would never go there. Like, well, you haven't been there, so you can't really say what it's like. Yeah, you know, it's like, exactly. Or it's like, I was there in 1967. I'm like,
right.
No, that's a big one. I think that's a good one. And like, you know, before we went to France, we had several people like stop us and be like, oh, they're so rude in France. It's like, well, not if you greet them with a bonjour and like, you know, just like basic things. And
we even taught our friends like how to speak basic French when they were living with us in the French Riviera. And when I tell people even now, like, we had a great experience, everyone was so loving and caring and sweet and heartfelt, kissed my face, awesome. Like even wanted to drive us to the whatever train station. Like, everyone was so out of their way kind. And honestly, like, yeah, I speak French, so that helps. But besides the point, you know, just come at any person with kindness, and like the worst that could happen is they're like, and then just be nice anyways. Like, that's the thing, be nice anyways. And then just don't choose to make that a friend. That's all. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, so, you know, Mark, like, your stories, you're teaching your authenticity, which we love so much, and I know your own followers really love. Like, you've inspired so many people, and us getting to watch your videos, meeting you in person was incredible, you know. So for anyone listening right now who wants to learn more from you or follow your journey or even bring you in to speak or collaborate with Mr. Speaker at TravelCon, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
So you probably find us the most at on YouTube at Wolters World, WOLTERS World, or just put in like Don'ts of Germany or Don'ts of France, Don'ts of the US. You'll see a chunky guy with a ponytail that's bald that's living in denial on the thumbnail there. You can find me there, or you go to our website woltersworld.com, or you can find us really on any social media: X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Wolters World. And you'll find us, and you can always reach out that way. But the best way is, if you want to watch the videos, just search any destination you want to travel to, put Wolters World with it, and the YouTube search button. You'll probably see a video to help you out.
Wow.
Nice.
So cool.
Thank you, Mark. Isaac, would you like to end today's episode with a don't game?
Yeah, so we're going to try a new game. We're not sure how it's going to go.
It's the musical don'ts.
So
you have a timer?
Yeah, so we're going to put a timer, and we're going to like
90 seconds.
Say a category, and then we're going to go around in a circle and say a don't of that place. And then whoever, like, the timer goes off on loses, I guess.
Are you playing, like, the Mexican hat dance song? Like,
I mean, I probably don't have that set up, so.
Do you have the copyright protection to play it?
Yeah, we don't. Just my mouth tool, so I'll play it with my mouth.
All right, so we'll
I'm
put.
gonna fail at this one.
Yep.
Can we pass or no?
No, that's the whole
Yeah.
purpose of this. So.
All right, good
You just
luck.
make it up. Make it up with confidence.
Yeah.
You'll be
So the first.
That's right.
The first category we'll go is just Europe. We'll go general Europe, the don'ts of Europe, and
All right.
I'll start the timer. And who do you want to go first?
I mean, I'll go first because I have one.
She has one, so she wants to get it out of the way.
All right, go
Okay,
ahead.
and go.
Don't not have money if you're in Italy and you have to go pee.
Yes.
Yes.
And don't forget, you need that everywhere you go in Europe because there's going to be some places going to charge you. But my don't will be, don't think all of Europe is the same because everywhere you go, culture's going to be different, language is going to be different, food's going to be different, but you have a great time no matter where you go.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Mine is don't expect to have a menu in France because they cook things so fresh that the ingredients and the menu changes every day, so they just write down on a chalkboard a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Mine is don't expect to have like one core cuisine of Switzerland because it's dependent on the different areas you're in Switzerland. Lugano, Italian, Geneva, French influence, like that kind of thing.
My don't would be, don't jump in the middle of the bed in a European hotel because many times it's two beds pushed together and you might
Oh.
fall in the crack.
This sounds like tested and approved.
Yes. I understand why there's not a lot of children in Europe anymore because those beds are dangerous.
Isaac?
Don't skip on using the train system. It's phenomenal. And don't forget about, you can use Uber to get the electric scooters.
Oh, nice. Don't expect a top sheet in France because they don't know what that is.
Amen to that. Don't think that staying at your Airbnb is not making an impact on the local housing market. Sorry, kind of down in
Deep.
there.
I know, like, we ended with you going real deep on us.
And
Well,
and
no,
we
let's
did.
do- we'll finish for the happy one. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, we'll go another round, but yeah, we did when we were in one area. There was like graffiti being like "Stop the Airbnbs"
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I do love Airbnb when we travel, but there is definitely having some real significant issues with just the oversaturation of them and. Yeah.
Well, I'll look good. We have a last don't Airbnb for you, but we'll do some of that. Don't think the Airbnb hosts know anything about the city you're staying in because so many of them are owned by people that don't live in the city anymore or are not from
Ooh.
there. It's a corporate kind of thing. So they literally know nothing. I can't tell you the percentage of actual help I get from an Airbnb host is negligible in terms of restaurants, in terms of sites, in terms of local tips, culture
Yeah.
things, because a lot of them don't live there. So do be aware of that.
Oh, back that up. Since we're on the Airbnb like pathway category, don't expect that your host knows what language you're speaking in. One crazy thing we learned is that Airbnb auto translates. So when we show up and they've been speaking English to us all along, and then we turn out and it's like, whoa, we can't speak each other's languages. Twist.
It auto-translated so well that I had no clue they weren't speaking to me in English until we got there.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I don't think they realized I was speaking in English.
No, sometimes the
Yeah.
host doesn't know either.
Yeah,
so
so-
good to know that Airbnb auto translates. Look out.
That is
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah,
Cool.
these are some good we actually did better than I thought. I thought I would struggle to say don'ts, but it's actually kind of easy.
Because
to
we're
come up with.
awesome.
You're right.
We're awesome,
people.
right?
Come
With
on.
Now-
confidence.
Full time to travel time.
Booyah.
That's
Now, Mark, have you traveled the national parks here in America a bit?
I've done some of them, yeah.
Because we were going to do a don't about the national parks.
Oh, is that where we're
Ooh,
going?
I'll start. Don't take your drone. Can't do drones in the national
Yeah.
parks.
Hmm.
I'm gonna start with that. So I would have sneaked it to make sure I got that one.
Don't think that all the national parks are going to be the same because every single one is significantly different than every other park.
Don't think that park rangers can't pull you over just like cops do.
We got pulled
Yeah.
over.
Real experience,
Yo.
did not get a ticket.
Yeah, don't mess with those rangers. They are next level, man. Like I think if the sheriff's patrol's scared of the park rangers because they're
They
like,
care.
you don't mess with
That's
park.
because they're so passionate.
Yeah.
That's great.
My doubt would be I had one, I just forgot. Dang it. Don't forget to get the America the Beautiful pass. It's like $80 and you can go to all of them. You can take a carload of people everywhere you go.
Yep.
You pay once. It's good for a whole year. And
Yep.
you can go and then you can just drive in other ones you want to see. So that would be don't ever pass that. That's a great thing that we do
Huge.
for tourists.
That's the most important don't.
And don't forget that if you're over 65, it's $80 once for the rest of your life. And if you're in 4th grade, you get a free park pass for the year. So take up on that.
That's right.
Check it out. You just Google it and you can get one.
Liam was during COVID, and so we got into Grand Tetons. And like they're like, "Oh, what grade's he in?" We're like 4th. He's like, "Perfect." There you go, little
That's
guy.
amazing.
And
So-
don't forget that this National Park Pass doesn't just get you into national parks. It gets you into every national monument, including stuff like the Statue of Liberty. It gets you into every recreational area, like national recreational area.
National seashores, national, like
It's
everything
like
that has
450 plus sites.
We've
that
been
it
to
gets you.
national fish hatcheries. We've been to anything this park pass can get us. We're all about it.
Oh, no, it's great. Like those are great.
Amazing.
Finish up
Hey,
our
Kim,
jokes.
come on, you're up.
You just no. He gave 2. I'm good.
Okay. I would say also, don't go off the path. So many
please,
people
yeah.
think that, I'll be fine. No, you're not saying it's a national park. Like,
Yeah.
it's nature. The wolves will eat you. The buffalo, they're not your friends. They are not for snapshots and selfies. I always love, because there's always, you get in July, you get the, like, flying tourist pictures. You're like, yeah, you dum-dum.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I'll add the last one. Don't forget to just pack snacks in general, you guys. Like, you show up to a national park, you're like, oh, we can hit the restaurant. Did you get a reservation for this one restaurant in the middle of nowhere? No, you did not. Now you don't get to eat. Like, just make sure you have food on hand, whether you're traveling by plane, by car, it doesn't matter. Have trail mix, have something, especially if you can get something with, like, fiber or protein in it, not just a bag of chocolate M&Ms like I see many kids and parents eat, which, like, like,
But I think that's all they
sustenance.
sell at the little gift shops. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why.
I know.
So a lot of the gift shops now in the national parks will sell things that are actually grown in the national parks. So we got wine in Shenandoah that is actually grown at orchard there.
And you'll get local honey.
In Capitol Reef, they have the best pies in America because they actually have historical orchards that they've kept from the homesteaders, and they still like use those fruits to create their pies right there on site. And so we think they're the best pies in America right
Out
there
of
in
this
Capitol
world.
Reef.
That's cool.
And they're tiny, so you don't have to feel bad if you eat the whole one by yourself.
Well, I don't feel bad if I eat a big one.
Yeah,
So.
no.
True, I have no guilt when it comes to food.
So yeah, that's awesome. And we do have a buffalo story. So because you were mentioning the buffalo, we have a couple, but we were driving actually through State Custer Park, which is one of the best state parks in America. And we were trying to find the buffalo herds. And Kim's like, where do I go? I was like, all right, let's take a left on this dirt road and let's just drive over here and see. So we're driving along, and then boom, we're like all of a sudden in the middle of a buffalo herd.
Hundreds,
And
maybe
so-
1,000.
No, like hundreds.
All right,
It's not
hundreds
that
then.
crazy.
That's so
But
many.
we're slowly driving through, and it's not an issue. And then
999.
this big guy steps out in the middle of the road, and he stops, and he starts moving his leg at us like
And
he's
I'm in
gonna
a
charge.
Fiesta at this point in time, so the buffalo is bigger
Like,
than my freaking car.
Probably weighs more than the car we're sitting
You
in.
could just lean on my
Oh,
car
I
and
did.
I'd flip over.
With you
and-
in it. It's
Right, and Kim's like, what do we do? And I was like, back up really slowly. And so, like, we just backed up really slowly. And this buffalo stood there staring at us for probably 5 minutes.
I mean, he was with his family.
Yeah.
He was
And we
just
couldn't really, like, turn around. We didn't have enough room because the buffaloes are surrounding us to try and pull, like, a 3-point turn. And so eventually he was like, all right, these guys are cool. We'll let them pass.
Oh, I love it. Anytime, like, somebody is like, you want to go through a traffic jam or a wildlife jam? Always choose wildlife jam.
Yeah. We've been in a few.
That's fun. Cool.
Awesome.
I like it.
Well, thanks so
Any
much.
questions you have for us before we hop off?
That's good.
No, I just wish you
Yeah.
all have a fantastic time. Make sure you,
Yeah.
hey, if you're listening, make sure you like and subscribe to the, Full Time to Travel Time YouTube channel and all the other places you get your favorite podcasts. Follow them also on all social media like Facebook, Instagram, all those things, because Kim and Isaac are awesome and they are fun people in real life too, not just on the podcast.
Well, we really appreciate that. It was really amazing meeting you at TravelCon, getting to see, your talk. I mean, you were one of the 3 headline speakers at TravelCon. And so,
Pretty
like,
cool.
again, we didn't know that. And then we met you. And then the next day we're watching you at, like, the main stage. It was like, oh, wow, this is so cool.
You are so not boring.
And I loved how you, like, you
Thank
opened
you.
up, kind of, you showed the back end, you showed your financials, which we thought was really cool, and everything. And,
Yeah.
really just, again, inspired us to start putting our content on YouTube. We literally literally would not be putting our content on YouTube right now if it wasn't for you.
Yeah,
so.
Mark, seriously.
Well, I'm glad that now, when that first check's coming in, that first dinner is on me.
Yeah,
Sort
hey,
of.
we'll
That
invite
way.
you out and get
There
you a dinner.
Yeah.
Maybe bring you one of the best pies in America.
Oh.
There you go.
Make a road trip out of it. That's how we do.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
All right, so you have to do
thanks,
the
guys.
signature sign off with us, Mark. So when you hear the cue, you have to say full time to travel time. Can you handle it?
Full-time to travel. Do I have to like? Is it like?
Oh yeah,
full-time
get
to
your like
travel
coffee
time?
elevator
let's-
voice.
Or it's
on.
like full time to travel time.
Let's go. Let's get the sexy voice on.
Oh yeah,
Alright, alright.
he chooses sexy voice.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
wanna do it? Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody for joining us on Full
Full-time
to
to travel
Travel Time.
Awesome.
Great work, great work. All right,
Thanks,
thanks
guys.
so much, Mark.